Respected participants and esteemed speakers, very good evening to all. It is my privilege to welcome all of you to yet another insightful session under Bridging the Mindset series, a very unique initiative of the Committee for Members in Practice designed to reposition the role of chartered accountants in the fast transforming professional landscape. Today's theme: from compliance experts to change leaders, delivering excellence with passion, value, and client focus. This is especially relevant as profession continues to evolve beyond statutory boundaries, and the future will belong to those who can integrate technical mastery with strategic thinking, empathy, and forward looking approach that elevates client value and societal impact. So, as we explore this shift, we are fortunate to be joined by distinguished speakers in today's webinar who embodies the very essence of this transition, and professionals who have shaped knowledge and mentored practitioners across the country. So we have CA Rupa Nayak, our first speaker for the day. Then we have CA Rajendra Rao, and we have CA Madhukar Narayan Hirgange, the chair for Committee for Members in Practice. So to begin with the formal agenda for today, I would first like to introduce the chair, CA Madhukar Hirgange, a very respected senior member of the profession. He has devoted more than 3 decades uh, to elevating the standards of practice, shaping reforms, and influencing the larger narrative of professional responsibility. He has authored 37 books, co-authored, and 12 on GST. And many of these books are regarded as essential references for practitioners across India. As chairman CMP, he champions a vision of a profession that is not only technically robust but also future ready, ethical, and socially conscious. Beyond professional excellence, he has been a passionate advocate of social empowerment for many across the profession. CA Madhukar is not merely a mentor. He is an enduring source of inspiration, encouraging practitioners to rise with character, courage, and contribution. Sir, we are so much thankful to you for joining us in today's webinar. And we would request you if you can just give us the opening remarks for this session and for setting the tone of the session.
Thank you, Alok. I should start by telling Rajendra Rao and Rupa Nayak, this committee has hardly any people, but they are doing a wonderful job. Even the introduction which Alok gave me, you may not have heard from most professional introductions in India also. That is a fact. These guys are also like me. Slowly, the winds of passion are ignited in them also. I have, of course, held a few sessions with them, but more have to be done. With that, I would like to in, invite all the participants today to enthralling, you know, idea change, empowerment for both of you. Rupa has been with me for, I think, almost 2 decades now. And let me tell you, her discipline, many of you think I am disciplined, but you should see her. She's, I have to learn from her. And her hard work is fantastic. I think the clients also like that. As far as Rajendra Rao is concerned, I have not had the opportunity of working with him. He is one of the role models in our Bangalore CS, along with my guru, the late K.S. Ravishankar, Mohandas Pai, Padamchand Khincha. And then there is the silent hero, Rajendra Rao. He was also a rank student along with them. I hold him in high esteem, and I am a little envious of all of you because I have to be part of another meeting. Maybe I'll watch the recording little later. All the best to all of you. And thanks, Rupa and Rajendra, for accepting. I will try to join in the end for 10-15 minutes, but I'll certainly watch the recording later. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank,
sir.
Thank you,
thank
Madhukar.
you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Thanks.
So now we are coming to our first speaker for today's webinar, C. Rupa Nayak, an accomplished professional with deep expertise in GST and direct taxes, with strong academic foundation and over 16 years of experience. She has emerged as a thought leader known for her clarity, precision, and practical approach to complex tax issues. She has also co-authored several authoritative publications, including uh, Guide to GST on Textile Industry, a practical guide to GST on real estate industry, a practical guide to GST on textile industry, GST audit handbook government perspective, central excise made simple, handbook on central sales tax, students handbook on indirect taxes, and ICI background material of certificate course on indirect taxes of ICI. So, thank you so much, Rupa ma'am, for joining us today. And before coming in between you and our respected participants who have joined us, uh, I would request you to please begin with your session for today. And at the same time, I would also request all our participants that on their platform, if there is any query, they can write their queries and we will take up all the queries at the end of the session after Rajendra Rao sir also finishes after Rupa madam. And there is, you will also find a link to give your feedback. We request you that your feedback is very important for us. Please do give your feedback. You can access the form through the link which is now appearing on your screen. Thank you so much. Over to Rupa madam.
Thank you, Alokji, for the introduction. Thanks to the CMP committee and to Madhukar sir, who's the chairperson of this committee. And thanks to Rajendra Rao sir, with whom we are going to be taking this webinar today. And without much ado, let me get into my coverage, which I'm proposing to take the members through. Is it visible, Lokji?
Yes.
Yes, Rupa.
Yeah, thanks. It's moving?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So, I will be speaking about a topic which is very close to my heart, I should say, excellence, and with the serving with passion and client focus. So, I will be speaking about this coverage of mine for the next, say, 40-45 minutes or so. And I will be largely drawing from my own experiences of close to like 2 decades of being as a practitioner. So, first I've looked at excellence. Excellence, the common understanding of what is excellence would be mastery over work. And if you ask me, my personal view is that whenever we start with something, we have to see why are we doing something. Okay, and that actually gives us the purpose, the reason, the objective. It may be in profession, it may be in practice, it may be in industry as a CA, but I would say this why is very important. And as far as I'm concerned, for me, the answer to this why over these decades has been that I, as a CA who is in practice, can make a difference to the clients, to a large number of fellow professionals, and also to the larger populace where I can probably add value through the knowledge in indirect taxes. through the solutions which may be useful to them, which may be one-on-one basis to the clients, which may be in a seminar or a session which I am addressing, or a webinar which is being taken, or maybe on a larger scale through the various articles or the various posts which may be getting hosted by me. So this is what it is, which is my vibe. So I would say for every professional, including a CA professional, it's very important to know the vibe. And once we have sorted the vibe, then certainly, we can succeed, we can improve daily and live to our full potential. And that has been my experience as well. And we are actually what we repeatedly do. Excellence eventually becomes a habit. This mastery over the work is attained because when we repeatedly keep persevering at a particular area, be it in GST, be it in customs, be it in FTP or direct taxes or any other areas, we are going to get good at it. And then we are going to become excellent at it. It becomes a second nature. Empathetic written communication also to clients and others. That also is something which needs to be done, perfected. And what happens when we excel? It adds to our self-confidence, our belief and self-esteem. In fact, I want to share, when I speak to my office people, I tell them, when they come to me with any issue, problem, some complex client matter, I tell them, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible to be done. And this is the mindset which actually drives us towards excellence. Passionate towards practice. For me, I am extremely committed to what I do in practice while adding value to clients and to the professionals and to the larger fraternity of the people who will be finding usefulness or solutions in what I'm doing. So I effectively love what I do. So that's very important in passion. It's a passion towards practice. Makes a professional to give 100% each time. So when we are loving what we do, I would say we're not working even a single day of our lives. And that gives the energy to have a powerful focus. And I perceive that that is something which is very important for each and every person who is just entering into practice, who has been practicing for a very, very long time, like Rajendra ji. Quality. Now, excellence is intertwined with quality. Quality of our deliverables, quality of our service to clients. What is quality? Quality refers to how good something is. And as per the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, quality refers to totality of features and characteristics of a service that bears its ability to meet the stated or implied needs. And each and every client, when they come to us as who are the practitioners, they are looking for excellence, they are looking for quality, and they want to ensure that their needs are met, their pain is understood, empathized with, the problem is understood, and a clarity is given, solution is given by looking at all the surrounding circumstances, by looking at the factual matrix which is there, be it when we do a consulting study, or be it when we do a full-fledged review, or a limited review, or a focused issue-based review, or let's say a department inquiry support, or a department investigation support. Client wants a solution. The smallest of the small clients, the biggest of the big clients are looking up to us to give a solution which is excellent, of quality, and addresses their need. And in fact, I would go to the extent of saying to give them far beyond what they've come to us for. I truly believe that that would be the best, excellent quality service which we can give as practitioners, as professionals to our clients. Obviously, the quality work to be delivered to the clients necessitates rigorously keeping up on a consistent basis with technical standards, giving high intentional results, putting the efforts and executing the assignments and providing services, which I would say not just matches the client's expectation but goes beyond. These standards could be the ones which have been prescribed under the ICI guidelines. It could be the internal quality understanding of an organization, the quality which is defined and captured in the constituting documents of an organization. So, what would be the best thing to delight a client? In my experience, under promise and over deliver, keeping the word with the client without differentiation. Okay, this is a client who's paying, say, 50,000. This is a client who's paying 5 lakhs. Should not make a difference in what we are going to be delivering as the best possible outcome in terms of deliverables within the law, within the understanding of the law to our client. Some best practices. Again, this is nothing but a collation of my thoughts and what I have come across in the practice on a day-to-day basis in our organization. I would say deliverables focus has to be there, which means even turnaround time has to be ensured. Just last week, I was with the client, a startup, I should say. So there they had been undergoing a due diligence. And there was a clarity sought about the tax treatment and the tax structure which they have adopted, as well as the input tax credit availment which they are doing. So under GST. So then they wanted it on an extremely fast basis of 1 day. Okay. So now we have committed to a turnaround of 1 day. Why? Because client's need comes first. So while doing this assignment and validating the tax rate which was being discharged by this client on the outward supplies, as well as the credit availment which had been done on the infrastructure by them, we have certainly ensured that the quality norms have been met while keeping up the timeline for the client. Now, what is this quality norms and how does it get ensured? So I would say, if you look at different nature of services which there may be, like I said, I'll be drawing from my indirect tax and GST practice experience. So if it comes to a consulting assignment, understanding of the business, getting the requisite documents, be it any agreement of the company or the client with their customers, be it the agreement which they've entered with the contractors who put up the infrastructure, studying the issues or the problems faced by that sector generally, going to the website of the client, getting the invoice copies of the invoices which they're raising to their customers, as well as in addition to the agreements, getting the invoices of the vendors, seeing how they're accounting for these transactions in their books, and then coming out with the advice wherein we're not just looking at giving them a report which gives them a best single solution, sometimes there may be alternatives. And then considering their risk appetite, considering their, that itself, we give them the 1, 2, 3 options at times, and then give them what is best in that. So some of the people may ask whether we have to give them the decisions which are supporting to the tax position taken by them alone. I would say we have to consider both sides, including the adverse decisions of the High Court or the Supreme Court if it is there, not just give the favorable decisions which are there to the client. And then suggest to them, in light of all of that, also what may be the revenues position, what may be the GST department or the department's view on that matter. and then give them a conclusion which is well reasoned, fairly well thought out, and considering the law, the judgments, and the latest, position as far as even the decisions are concerned. So that would give them the quality solution. While using checklists, following the SOP which may be in place within the organization for executing a particular assignment. I gave you just one example of consulting. Same thing goes even for an SCN reply or a department, audit objections reply, starting from establishing the facts for each of the observations which have been raised. See what is the documents which are supporting to the client. Ensure that each and every allegation of the department is being responded to. Ensure that all the favorable judgments are getting covered. Any unfavorable decisions quoted by the department are being distinguished. Ensure also that wherever there is a gap in the workings which have been relied upon, then that needs to be highlighted if it's an incorrect working which has been, provided along with the observations as an annexure. These are just some of the pointers. Again, ensure that the research which is done is well documented and preserved in some kind of a database which is easily accessible, retrievable within the organization. So all these aspects will ensure while the deliverable has been turned around, there has been no compromise on the outcome or the giving the complete solution to a client. In fact, every time, even with repetitive assignments, this has to be done, if you ask me. And this is what gives the excellence time and again. Process standardization, SOPs have to be followed. So the research paper has to be prepared. What are the relied upon documents? What are the facts which have been looked at? Which are the rules, sub-rules, sections, subsections, so that nothing which is relevant, important for the client's matter gets missed, leading to a wrong conclusion, incomplete reply getting drafted and not meeting the needs of our client. Using checklists, there would be different checklists. For consulting, there could be a checklist for the SCN replies. There could be a checklist as far as the audit reviews are concerned. Quality controls to be put in place also for high quality deliverables is what I would say is very much required. This could be peer review, of course, a pre-review by the partner or the leader, and then a peer review by one of the other leaders within the organization. There could be external review also, which can be put in place for certain of the very, very complex deliverables with some outside expert. There can be post-assignment review also, which can be done instead of getting it done as a pre-review with the external expert, to ensure that the conclusions given are meeting the needs of the client while ensuring the excellence of delivery. Documentation, again, very, very important. Like I always tell my people here, documentation, getting the agreement of the client, getting the other relied upon paperwork from the client, very important, and that needs to be preserved. Maybe any kind of software, it can be iFirm, it can be something else. So that for the future also, if somebody wants to understand about a particular assignment, why it was concluded in a certain way, why certain observation was made during a review, why certain submissions were made in a reply, then the document to support that is there available with us as professionals. That is a due care to be taken. And also, of course, our internal documents, which requires to be preserved as a backup for the future, which we can revisit if at all, for example, the reply which has been prepared. And subsequently, there is going to be the order which is passed, which is to be appealed again. So then revisiting of the old observations and the underlying documents, workings provided by the client, everything becomes very important. So what else is required to ensure continuous excellence and quality? Knowledge and skill enhancement all the time, I would say, for all levels. How many ever years we have been in practice, my view is that we have to be updated with the changes in the law, latest circulars, clarifications, press releases also, decisions which keep coming day in and day out from various jurisdictions, especially what's happening in Karnataka, since I'm stationed in Karnataka, that again becomes ever so important when we are guiding the client on various positions which they may be taking and wherever risk is involved. Attending study circle meetings, probably attending courses also, maybe a FEMA course or any course on AI. So all this leads to a consistency in maintaining excellence and quality. Focus on self-development also alongside with the practice to ensure quality. Time and again, and excellence time and again. Advantages. What are the advantages? I would say the biggest advantage is a satisfaction, a fulfillment of assignment well done for a client. Ability to give far more to the client than what they had come to us for as professionals, as practitioners. Obviously, it leads to the client wanting us to serve them in the future also, because there's a positive impact. Client comes back and says, hey, last time all the points you had replied and given us for the audit observations of 21, 22, now 22, 23, also you please help us because they dropped all the points. We are very happy. Whatever I'm discussing, it's all from real life experiences of mine. So let me draw a little more from there. What else happens when we have maintained excellence and quality? There's no rework or duplication. So when the work is of that quality level, even if it comes from a manager who is there in the organization, there's no requirement of reworking because he already knows, he or she, that what is the research which is required to be done for a particular aspect. They have to look at the decisions, they have to look at the changes in the law. So the work will be of a high quality when they document all this in a research document or analytical document, which is a backup for whatever the work done by them and the conclusions derived by them. There's no duplication also. So somebody else has a similar analytical study to be done, let's say for the sweet sector input tax credit, sweetmeat sector, sweet stall business person. So they can go back and look at that report which has already been done and understand what may be the best way to ensure the dispute-free credit for the client. So they've already seen that kind of the nature of the business, which was done sometime, some months ago, and they'll just go and have a look. So that helps them to finish the work faster and there's no duplication unnecessarily. Increases productivity, lesser time involved for the same work. Knowledge and skill improvement, obviously assignment to assignment. In fact, I tell my people, same nature of the assignment, same kind of the client sector, still we can improve what we're giving. So if you're giving a view on a tax implications of GST to a developer, same facts, similar joint development agreement, but surely we can add something more. There may be a latest decision. There may be a latest change which has taken place. So we want to tell the client about it. And it helps to build pride in work, organization, and profession. Client focus. Now, how to bring about this whole client focus? So we need to be clear on what the client wants, not what Rupa wants, not what Rupa thinks the client wants. So what is the client come to us for as practitioners? What is the problem statement of the client? This cannot be a judgment or a presumption. In fact, just 3-4 days back, I was with a client. They wanted to understand as far as the exempted supplies which they are doing. Can they claim the deregistration option? But what was the point there? If in GST, if only exempt supplies are being done by a person, then that person does not require to take a GST registration, or they can actually come out of GST registration. So predominant portion of their business is this exempted business. Small portion is taxable now. But if they continue with the GST registration, there was some other reverse charge where recipient needs to pay the tax. Those implications which would have arisen to them. So then they wanted to understand how do we go about this. So we got talking, we were speaking, and then they also mentioned to me, I said, do you have any other entity where you can do this same business? And there came the solution. Because if this exempted business was being done in the other entity, and they do have another entity, which is a smaller entity. So there, if they move that, where currently there is barely any much business which is being done or activity which is being done, then there is no GST registration requirement either. So there, that portion of it will be moved. The reverse charge impact also doesn't come in. And that was a solution which came out because the client discussed the ins and outs of their business and the various entities in which they were doing their activities. So seeking information from the client is very important, and giving them an opportunity to speak, I would say, listening to them, because client has to be the center of the practice. Profiling clients, again, very useful exercise, what I have seen. An Excel sheet with a brief about the company, the GSTN, their product service offerings, types of the businesses they do, streams of the revenue expenses which they have, major issues which they would have come across and encountered in the past, any ongoing litigations. So this will become a very useful tool that if I have been, collecting this data and doing, let's say, a consultative study for them and giving them a report. After some 2 years, if they require an in-depth GST review, one of my other colleagues will use this as a base to give them ready-made information about the client, their pain areas, so on and so forth, and probably help to enhance the review experience for the client, to get into more of the pain areas which the client may have, which sometimes even client may not be aware of at times. Look at the various services which are currently being done to the client. Then probably what happens is that there may be some other services which we can provide to the client, which helps them substantially. Then a client may say, hey, I want you itself to, to look at the department audit also. Why? Because now you are helping me for my compliance. You're helping me to file my returns. But these few replies where you have supported me, department had sent me an ASMT 10 scrutiny notice, and you helped me to reply using all the recourse which have been prepared by you all using various tools which are at your disposal. So please also help me when the department comes for audit. So this ensures that the client is getting the best possible of our services. Probably when we add more services, the client is giving us to that extent more of the value in terms of money terms as well. With their, fulfillment, they'll obviously keep coming back to us for more. Delivering more than expectations, this is something we should strive in all assignments, I would say. Keeping that client in a state of wow. And obviously, they're going to pass the word around. This happens to me quite a few times. Client comes and says, we have been put across to you by so and so, who wanted, us to go to you. Because the last time around, they were very delighted. And treat the clients same, I would say, regardless of long-standing or new clients. Be prompt in response. See, sometimes client will send a mail asking for a proposal, but then we may be out. At least we should acknowledge that is what I've realized. Otherwise, the client wonders if their mail reaches at all. And one more thing, what I've experienced is the faster we respond, the client is more likely to be engaging with us. This is also something which I have realized over the years very much. How else to have this client-centric focus? Be flexible, accommodative, of course, not to lose our independence. I'm very much clear on that as well, because whenever I've interacted with a client, been outrightly telling them the correct position which is there as per the law. Sometimes the client wants to hear something. Okay, now look at this agreement and tell me, are we liable to pay GST? Without getting into specifics, therein I tell them, see, as per this agreement, you are liable to pay tax to your developer. You have agreed. You are the landlord, but you have agreed for this. Now, can I give him a wrong or an incomplete view? I'll not do that, because they need to know the correct position which is there. Seeking feedback, again, what I have seen is that any organization which is having this feedback system, it may be on a periodic basis, sending out mailers to the clients, asking about their comments, their suggestions for improvement. It may be as simple as a MS form, which the client will fill up with their details and then give their specific comments. If they are satisfied, they find it excellent, good, satisfied, not below, par, inputs for improvement, then certainly that helps us as a practitioner. Certainly, it is good to be polite, very good, I would say, and have good communication skills. It can be by mail, written, or oral as well. Client empathy, understand the pain of the client, why the client has come to us. What are the value adds we can provide to the clients? I would say we can, even on a day to day basis, even after the client has come and gone, we've given the report, the discussions are done, the client has gone off. But then there's a change in the law. Probably we can add value by sending a mail to the client about the change which has taken place, which is relevant to them. So somebody who was earlier paying tax, now because of the change in the tax law, their service falls into the category of export of service. Then we need to tell them, hey, now this is moved to the export of service category. There may not be a tax liability anymore once this change is notified. You can go for refund also and need not pay the tax on the outward side. Ensure that the latest developments which takes place in accounting auditing is being kept abreast of by us. Maybe the Companies Act, certainly in GST, because so much of changes which keeps happening. Ensuring we are well read and able to give the best solutions, like I said right in the beginning, to the client is extremely important. There's also reminders of due dates can be given, sending landmark judgments to clients, and what is the impact for business. See, a lot of the forwards can be there, but if it is not given with what is the impact for the client's industry, business, what is the impact on the ecosystem, what is the impact for the pending decisions, pending cases, it's of no use to the client. So I would say even that somewhere needs to be given to the clients. Adopting automation for the client and the firm, very important. Faster turnaround, ensuring that the requirement of the client is met on a faster basis. And now, of course, there are a lot of tools which are there, including all the RECO tools and all of that. Ensuring periodic webinars, having sessions for the client's needs which are there. It may be area specific when there are a lot of changes in rates, rate specific, rate changes related, classification and rate changes related webinar is an example. And like there's a lot more things which can be done to add value and enhance the client focus day in and day out. So with this, I've come to the end of my coverage, and I would take any questions which are there with this.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing us your practical insights. We have received some couple of questions.
Yeah, I can see it in the
Would you
chat.
like me, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like me to take up these questions?
Yes, please, Alokji.
Thank you. Thank you. So, the first question, ma'am, many practitioners face clients who demand last minute work or resist documentation. How do you negotiate excellence with a client who is unwilling to invest in quality inputs and timelines?
Okay. Let me first of all say that this does happen to me quite a bit, and the client possibly who has come to us at the last minute has also come because they have this belief that you are able to deliver for them. But yes, I do also face this issue where they may not share the documentation. So there are one or two inputs. One is, of course, sending out a mailer or a documented communication to them about the list of the requirements. If I look from the example of opinion, let me take that as one example. Lately, I had one client who had come to me wherein they have given the entire set of the facts, but they have not shared all the agreements. to confirm on their tax position, the tax rate which they have been now offering on their supplies. So then I told them, okay, no problem. You want this urgently and you want it on these facts. You please give me the mail, document it in the form of a mail. And then using that as a factual matrix, we have given them a report.
Okay.
Now they are going to give us the agreements after the report was shared last week, and it was hugely urgent for them. So now today, Monday, he has shared the documents around it. Now we're going to validate whatever the view, the tax position validation report, which was given as a draft, with the documentation of the agreements, and to confirm that whatever is being opined in the report, whether it remains or there's going to be any changes in it. So I would say we should request the client to give the details to us, send it out in a well-documented manner so that we also have a record of what all we have called for, and then see if we can get it faster basis. And then if that's not happening, then probably we should have to see whether we want to continue with the assignment or not to do. If it's a very critical,
Correct.
document, basis which probably somebody is going to give a qualified report versus a unqualified report, then obviously that trade-off will be there, whether they want to continue with the assignment or not. That is a personal call of each practitioner. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Make
thanks.
to next question. In your experience, where do quality and ethics intersect? How
Mm.
can professionals guard against the subtle compromises that can erode long-term excellence?
Okay. See, as for me, these are like two non-negotiable aspects, both quality and ethics for practitioners and for CA professionals in general. So where do they intersect? It may sometimes come to a point, for example, that there is a certain position which is being taken as far as the law is concerned. Now, if that position which is there in the law is very much crystal clear that there is going to be a tax liability and the client has not paid the tax. In fact, I had one such instance a few months back. The client has paid tax on all their area sharing JDS, GST, on landlord share. On one of the agreements, they don't want to pay the tax because they don't have money. Okay. From their viewpoint, they are quite clear that if they had the money, they would have paid it. There is a demand upon them. Now, what do I do? So, the answer to that is first, I have made it very clear to them that this liability is something which is valid. There is a demand on you. I have verified as per the valuation provisions. The value which has been ascribed or asked to be paid is quite valid. So now, just by telling there is no money, of course, there are the other alternatives. You can pay in installments, request for payment in installments, because all other projects you have been paying. Now, why you didn't pay on this when it's not a time bar demand? It's a genuine valid demand. It is still a demand which the department can make under the normal period of limitation which is there. So you may require to discharge this. So somewhere, for me as a ethical practitioner, when I'm responding to a client or providing services to a client, I also need to ensure that I do not give them a incorrect, wrong, misleading picture and make that kind of a compromise. I always tell my clients, if I believe that this case cannot be won, I will tell you upfront. If I believe that this matter is not going to resolve in your favor, if you come to me for a department audit, I am going to tell you upfront about it, because I will not give you a rosy picture and send you to face a case where you may end up finally losing the matter. And let me tell you, 99% of the matters are anyhow frivolous, and it is going to get resolved in the client's favor somewhere by the appellate stage maximum. And in 60% matters, anyhow, in the audit stage itself, with a correct, rigorous reply and workings, it can get closed. So this is how I would respond on it. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Meanwhile, Rajendra sir, if you think you want to add on something, we
Yeah.
welcome your viewpoint as well. So next is a very interesting question, and it says that as AI begins automating reconciliations, notices, drafting, and research, what will excellence look like for GST professionals? What differentiators will define the next generation of domain experts?
All right. That's a very interesting point, actually, sir. And I'll tell you why. Because what I am experiencing in practice, and I see huge volume of notices in a year, sir, let me tell. And department has been extremely active. 60% of the, I would say even up to 70% of all points are RICO related points. I'm sure Rajendra ji would agree with me, and you also would. It's 1 versus 3B. It will be 2B versus 3B credit, which is getting reflected in 2B versus what has been taken in the returns. So it is all about the reconciliation. Somewhere it is coming down to the reconciliation. But having said that, I would say excellence in one way is also very much involved from the side of us as a practitioner to put the best possible efforts, even to ensure these 60% points, which are there in my example, which are eco points, are being strongly replied with the correct working, which is done in a clear manner, whereby this can get dropped and the burden on the SSC at a later stage is getting cut down. So even though it may be a mere RICO point, let me also share a notice of 100 crore. If it is having say 60 crore of demand of reconciliation items, and that 60 crore of demand gets dropped before the SCN comes in the picture, even though it is merely a automated tool based RICO which may be there, but getting that adequately, correctly prepared and presented in the correct format which can be understood by the officer of the department leads to dropping of 60 crore demand. And if that was not dropped in the upper stage after adjudication level, if the order goes against, 10 plus 10% is the pre-deposit. So how much have we saved the client? We have already saved for the client nothing less than 6 crore rupees when we ensure that the matter gets dropped in the pre-SCN. So what am I telling? This also is a way of excelling and giving a excellent delivery to the client. It's not just the data which is being mined or reconciled and given. Even the presentation of the data makes a difference in the particular format which is understandable easily to the officer by which he will drop it. The other 40% points, genuinely it will be interpretational issues, where there may be multiple reasons why it is not taxable or multiple reasons why credit is eligible. That is somewhere where you'll show your mastery over the subject and ensure that you will provide value to the client.
Yeah, thank you for sharing such a wonderful experience. I mean, right away, 10% saving, which is coming out of our excellence, is something not only quantifiable. If suppose we have to quantify our excellence, I think so a very valid example for that. Coming to next question, how do you cultivate mastery in an environment where fear can restrict exploration, questioning, and deeper learning?
Okay, Rajendra sir, you want to take that question? Then I can say anything.
Sure. As a CA, the last trait or the last habit you should have is to practice with fear. Because once fear starts to pervade your practice, your thinking gets clouded, your judgment goes completely awry. And as Rupa kept saying over and over again, the first injury will be to the excellence that you want to deliver to the clients. So you cannot at any point in time have this habit of fear. I know it is sometimes very real. It is sometimes the fear is a very strong word, but sometimes the fear of losing a client. But it is something, it is a emotion that you cannot let enter with you when you enter your office. So it is something that you must overcome in the most mature manner, again, I'm saying the same thing again, in a fearless manner. You will have to convince your client, easier said than done, I will say, convince the client that it's not in his best interests to intimidate you into giving you a solution or giving him a solution that is neither going to serve his purpose nor yours. So fear is something that you should not cultivate at all. And in that case, you'll never have mastery. Fear and mastery can never walk hand in hand.
All right. Ma'am, you want to add on?
Yeah, I just want to supplement. One thing is that, see, we have to be fearless, like Sir said. And very important, I also tell my clients this at times that, you got to share completely with me because I'm like a doctor. So you cannot do by any half measures. You'll give me half the information now. Then after some time, you'll give me another part of the information. I ask them sometimes, have you been doing this particular thing or not? Because now if I've got to defend you, then I need to know what you've done or not done. And I believe that we need to ask, because that's the only way we'll be able to master a particular client's file or master a particular client's issue. If we do not ask them that by stepping out and raising it, because we may, like Sir said, we may say, okay, the client is going to leave me if I ask him this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So I make it a point to ask the client directly in the face, because that's the only way that we'll be able to give them a correct solution. And probably also remember, we being as practitioners, we are in a very delicate position as well, and we are very much accountable towards the ethics and the code of conduct which has been put in place. So then we have to ensure that we are also keeping up, upholding that. So I make it a point to ask, when I get a doubt, I ask the client, have you done this or not? If they're going for a refund, and if I am having a doubt, I'm not satisfied with your working, that have they refunded to their customer and then gone for a refund, I'll ask them, have you actually, been giving this money back to your customers and then claiming the refund or not? So I ask them, where there is some matter where, they've questioned them about the receipt of goods to their godown. They're telling them, that this goods have not been received by you. So then I'll ask them to look around all the documents, look at the photos of the trucks in which the goods have come. But then I'll ask them, are you really doing these kind of transactions? And then I will validate whatever documentation they give. So I could be fearful and keep quiet and just accept what they're giving me, but I'm not going to do that. I'll ask for more if I'm not convinced. So I think we need to somewhere be more outspoken to ensure that we can be masterful while we serve the clients. Yeah.
Yeah. Coming to next question again, this is a very interesting question. As what I can see is how
Hmm.
to architect a model where excellence is not sacrificed by speed and
Hmm.
speed is not compromised for perfection. So somewhere I think we also see that if we will be running, too much after one perfection or excellence, whatever manner we want to define it, somewhere, if it is not a very large firm and
Hmm.
we are having, very few sets of people who are doing it.
Hmm.
So what is that finest calibration according to you, which can define the excellence? So that our audience can also understand
Hmm.
as to what is the practical meaning of excellence, what we want to convey here.
So here I would say that this is my experience again, like I said earlier also. We may need to first of all put in place the right kinds of processes so that the any kind of a service which is being done to the client, just because it has to be turned around faster. It may be anything. It may be a returns filing. It may be a review. It may be a reply. So that by virtue of the processes in place, be it of collection of the data, checking for the completion of the documents given as a relied upon documents in a reply, so that just because it's got to be speedily given, there should not be any which way a compromise in what is the correctness of the delivery. And at the same time, we cannot so much be emphasizing on the correctness of the delivery that we are somewhere looking at a perfection and it gets delayed and then it's of no use to the client. So as a crude example, I can say the reply is prepared so much in detail, and because one particular annexure of the working of the credit is not available, the reply is not filed, and consequently the SCN has got issued. Now that has to be handled. Because usually once an SCN is issued, they are not going to withdraw it from the department. So somewhere there has to be set processes that what all needs to be done when there is, let's say, department audit observations, what all the information we need to immediately call for from the client. In the meantime, with the available information, what is it that can be done, so that somewhere we are meeting the need of reaching excellence and also the delivery in a timely way, and at the same time ensuring that it does not result into any kind of a loss to the client or a untoward incident for the client. That's what I would
Yes.
say.
Maybe some very detailed checklist can come for a rescue, and these checklists can be drafted out of the experience to meet those excellence standards,
Yes.
which should be timely in its approach. Uh,
Yes.
Thank you. So we can take up one more question because the time is now coming up to hear our second speaker. So the question is, what are the steps to be taken in case the client company has not contributed to infrastructure development, which they have to do compulsorily as their turnover cross the prescribed limit?
That's a very interesting question, because what is the infrastructure? When we look at it, one may be the infrastructure in terms of having the adequate persons and resources in place, because resources also are very important. If I look at it from GST perspective for indirect tax, having knowledgeable persons within the organization, ensuring training of those persons. At the same time, on the other side, ensuring that they are subscribing to some softwares which helps them to do the recalls, which helps them to do efficient filing of the 1 and the 3B, 9 and the 9C. So like this, we can probably flag it to the client as a good to do practices. In fact, in the reviews which are done under GST, usually, in organizations, we also do give them a list of best practices, or, the areas wherein they may like to implement some infrastructure. At the same time, you may ask, so then should we suggest which is the best software which they should go with? That we may not do, because data security, there are so many other issues also which comes into that. But certainly we can highlight the gaps which are there in their infrastructure of compliance for GST, let's say. And then they may start to look into it, and then the solution should be able to present itself after some more research by them, by which they may take your inputs as a professional as well, and then they are able to bridge the gap. Yeah.
So, thank you so much, ma'am, for answering to all these wonderful questions. I think so. All of us have taken a lot of benefit out of your experience. So now it's time to uh, hear the thoughtful address and the insights from our second speaker, Rajendra Rao, sir. So, CA Rajendra Rao is a very seasoned practitioner with extraordinary professional journey spanning 42 years of his career. His career reflects not only technical depth but a steadfast commitment to the profession. So, thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to address all of us and our participants who are joining us on every Monday in this series. Over to you, sir.
Good evening to each and every one of you, respected fellow professionals. I am delighted beyond belief to have this privilege of speaking to such an august body of professionals, the brightest minds in our professionals, and especially the young CAs who, in my mind, I'm very, very certain are just not only an army of nation builders, but also the future torchbearers of our institute. So to all of you, a very good evening and a namaskar. When I did think about this topic, somewhere subconsciously, I divided the audience into two groups. One are the slightly older generation who have the benefits of the wisdom of excellence, and the slightly younger generation who have the energy of aspiration. But even though these seem to be two disparate groups, all of us are linked together by two letters of the alphabet, C and A. And this is what truly is defining us today, our skill set and our mindset. So having said all this, I I did give a thought to why, as Alok had just mentioned, why did this bridging the mindset gap actually evolve from the Institute's offices? And it's my belief that the Institute wants to prepare us for a future where our relevance is not so much by what we know, but how we think. And that is going to be the cornerstone of the next generation, of the next decade, and pretty much what I would like to talk to you about. For far too long, members of our profession have only been considered as champions of compliance, but those days and that perception is now outdated, and the day now belongs to us, where we have to become leaders of change. Change leaders is what is going to help us, the profession, the institute, and all our clients step up to the next level, because the history has shown us that unless we evolve, we will always be stuck in a rut. And I don't think any of us would like to do that. Now, when talking about change leaders, there are, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items that I'd like to talk to you about. The first one is the changing landscape that we are all witness to. Change is constant, and we see that this change has pervaded pretty much every facet of human life. It could be science, it could be technology, it could be medicine, architecture, even climate has changed. So there's no reason to not accept the fact that business, governance, and practice is also the element of change has also been changing in a manner that sometimes defies logic. In the last, say, let's say 40 or 50 years, change has been rather subdued, rather sedate. But as time has passed by, change has picked up speed. The velocity of change has become so fast that by the time we even realize that there's a change upon us, it has overtaken us. But is that something that should intimidate you? No, I don't think so. I think we are made of a better metal, and change is something that we should not be apprehensive about. We should actually befriend, because some of those items and agents of change can be our best tools for our own progress. Okay, so let me talk about changing landscape. I just told you that the change has happened very, very fast. And in our own profession, there could be possibly 3 items that come to mind. One is automation. People who have been in practice, say, for 30 or 40 years will realize there's days when we had manual books, and there used to be an enormous amount of time that we used to spend to prepare the financial statements. But today, automation, in a blink of an eyelid, gives you the results that you've always been looking for. So that's one change that has been good for us and that we have embraced in a very welcome manner. The second item is, of course, the flavor of the month is artificial intelligence, where we have seen changes that have taken place only in the last 2 or 3 years. And it's a tool that can detect audit anomalies so quickly that you begin to wonder why didn't I think of this in an earlier year? There could be possibly no change in the client's model, but when you run client data through an artificial intelligence program, it shows up patterns that you thought did not occur or did not even recognize in previous years. So artificial intelligence is another tool that helps immensely. Third is, of course, data analytics. You have a bunch of clients who are in the same industry, like, say, hospitality or hospitals or traders, and you're not able to see a pattern. You're not able to join the dots amongst all of them because they're all showing different results. You run it through a data analysis program, and before you can finish your cup of coffee or tea and you're back at your table, the results, I'm not saying the interpretation, the results of that data analysis is very important and very clear for you to see. So some of the things of change, agents of change that have taken place in the last decade, which we are privy to, which we have been, in a sense, very privileged to witness and privileged to partake of, are, of course, automation, artificial intelligence, and data analytics. But please remember that these are only your tools, maybe the crutches you can use to complete jobs, but they will never, ever replace your judgment. You are the sole master of this judgment, of the analysis, because not much of this analysis and interpretation can be done. These tools will only give you interpretation, give you information. Interpretation is your forte, is your strength. And that is something that AI is not likely to take over in a hurry. So during this period, please remember you are Lord and Master. You continue to be a Lord and Master over all that you survey. So, nowadays, clients don't really bother about asking you, are my books correct? They know they are correct. Even if there's a slight error in tolerable error, they really not bother. They only want to ask you, here are my numbers. What do they foretell? What do you see happening to my business with the numbers that I can show to you? And that's where your skills, your tools will help you to come up with an insightful answer that tells them something's going wrong, or you're doing something right, or it is something that you can do better. So all this is part of the changing landscape that is already upon us, and that is only likely to get more and more, pervasive in all that we do. Daily basis, monthly basis, it doesn't matter, but it is something that you will have to contend with as you practice on a day-to-day basis. Clients now really don't look for auditors. They look for 3-in-1 champions. That is, they want a risk manager, they want a data analyst, they want a strategic partner. They want you to do pretty much everything except what we were very comfortable doing: audit, accounts, tax filings, compliance. All those now have become very passive. New generation businessmen don't see this as the service offering that a CA should be providing them. They're looking for something that's a little more cutting edge, and that's what you have to be right in front of the line to provide them the kind of services that they yearn for from a good professional. It doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are, this is what they want. Nothing more, nothing less. Actually, yeah, nothing less. Definitely more. Therefore, to provide all this, we not only need to upgrade our technological knowledge, the most important thing is to upgrade our mindset. No more can we be maybe I'm being a little harsh, the submissive or the very compliant kind of chartered accountants. We need to be able to tell all of those who come to us that they come to the right place at the right time to get the right kind of service that they have been looking for. That is what we need to be able to convey to them in body, mind, and spirit. And as I think Alvin Toffler said, you are in the 21st century, you will be considered illiterate, not if you can't read. You will be illiterate if you can't learn, unlearn, and relearn, because no body of knowledge is going to remain constant. And unless you are aware of how it changes and the changes it takes and that's taking place and how it impacts your own domain, you're going to be left behind by somebody who's already up there far ahead of you and who is possibly be patronized by this client that you're hoping to have or your own client itself. So please don't be illiterate in the Alvin Toffler way. Be very, very prepared to unlearn what you've learned and relearn what is relevant today. So the modern economy demands what I call are the 2 A's, which is analysis and not accuracy. The 2 C's, which is collaboration and not compliance. And once again, the 2 A's, which is being able to adapt to today's needs and not just being accountable to the client. So please re-engineer yourself, re-engineer your thinking, reimagine your complete profile into being a person that a client is looking forward to approach and ask for solutions or ask for advice. Because they're going to come to the conclusion that you are the repository of all that they wanted to know, and that you should be their one-stop shop for all the problems that they have. And in all this, if you are in a state of comfort and this curiosity does not burn within you, then I think you're going to be losing, or you're going to be running, you'll miss the bus. Please be curious at all times and get out of the comfort zone that we've all been so used to. Those days are gone. They're completely gone. So question I need to ask you is, we have been so comfortable all these years. When was the last time you learned something new for your profession that would have impact on your day-to-day working? It could be anything, but it has to be related to your profession. I'm not saying about cooking or sewing or gardening, something that's related to your profession, like maybe blockchain, maybe AI, maybe ESG. There are so many new, as I think Alok was mentioning to us, there are so many new areas that are available, exciting, something that you want to learn about, something that very few people have expertise in, and you become the sole person, or not sole person, maybe one of the few people who are able to provide these services. So please try and get ahead and get a hold of subjects that are more relevant today, and try and offer these services to people who need them more, or maybe let them know that they need them even if they don't need it. Maybe you have to allow them to understand the benefits that these new areas will provide them in running their own businesses or raising the bar in their own industry. Our profession is no longer a matter of balance sheets and income. Gentlemen, they're no longer, ladies and gentlemen, no longer balance sheets. It's a matter of balancing now, balancing tradition with transformation. You have to transform. You can't leave tradition by the wayside. That will always be our co-traveler, but that can't be the only thing that will travel with you. You have to transform this. The second thing that I wanted to speak to you about, and the second subject I want to speak to you about is, how do you change your mindset to become a future-ready CA? We believe we are future-ready, we believe we know we have AI, all this, but unless your mindset changes, knowing what a subject does not make you a future-ready CA. Future-ready CAs have a different edge to themselves that are only, okay, let me put it this way. Future-ready CA is somebody who has little more than knowledge. Knowledge is, everybody has knowledge, but your ability to actually apply it in a manner that suits your clients the best is what makes you future ready. So how do we now become this future ready CA? To my mind, that I think 4 steps. One is critical thinking. Please leave compliance aside. Compliance is not critical thinking. It's critical. It's critical, but not critical thinking. And what I'm harping on the word thinking. Critical thinking is what you need to imbibe to be able to be a future-ready CA. You need to, what do you mean by critical thinking? You interpret data. You are given a bunch of raw data, a mountain of raw data. It's for you to now interpret it, join the dots, and come up with an insightful piece of information from which a client can profit. If that makes sense to a client, something that he could not see and something that you are able to massage and provide to him, that is critical thinking. Something that Rupa also talked about is leadership and communication. Leadership is leading from the front, leading with purpose, and communicating very, very simply and clearly without talk to the client in a language that they understand. No point in saying that according to explanation 2 to the second proviso to clause BA of section 43, nobody understands it. You need to be able to talk to them in a language that they understand, they appreciate, and they're able to actually absorb and then maybe interact with you in a better way. So please, language and communication is an excellent skill that you need. If you don't already, I mean, I'm sure most of us already have it, just learn to get the finer points of these 2 traits that you must have, your leadership and communication. That's the second item that will make you a future-ready CA. The third item is collective impact. Gone are the days when individual excellence used to be something that everybody used to pursue. All those days are done. Collaborative experience, collaborative excellence is what will take you and your team further. Doing it alone, yes, you will go some distance, but doing it together, you'll go really far, and you will be able to provide your clients with multilateral and multi-skilling advice that they will actually find very useful. So please leave aside individual excellence. I'm not saying sacrifice it. I'm not saying give it, ignore it. A set of collaborative, what we need is actually a constellation. We don't need shining stars anymore. We don't need a few shining stars anymore. We want really a group or a constellation of empowered professionals who can provide services to their clients, which they are aspiring for. Okay, so individual excellence is something that should now come one step below group excellence. Okay. And the last thing, at the cost of repetition, I will say, fourth item that will make you a future ready CA is technology adaptation. AI analyzes data, no more than that. Does it analyze decisions? I doubt it. Today's AI tools, I don't think analyze decisions. They can give you all the data to make the decisions. And I hardly need to say the human mind is able to contort itself in so many different diverse ways that it comes up with answers, solutions, plans that are beyond the capability of any AI tool. All your tax plans that everybody comes up with, I'm saying the legit tax plans, are the ones that are born out of human skill, human intelligence, human wisdom, human experience. AI can only maybe set out the table, set out the set of facts that you then start to massage and come up or weave together and come up with a data or come up with a plan. AI will not help you do that. Maybe some rudimentary plans, but nothing that will excel in terms of its competitors. AI can process information, mountains of information at blinding speed, but can it process integrity? Absolutely not. Can it tell you whether that related party transaction was tainted? Not tell you. It will tell you it's related party transaction. You followed all the rules, but can it go beyond that transaction to tell you that integrity is compromised or the integrity is preserved? Cannot do that. It is you who will have to use all your skills and all your judgmental techniques to find out whether this was a good related party transaction, this was not a good related party transaction that I need to tell the audit committee about. So AI will help, AI will not surpass, AI can only sort of assist you in your work. It will reduce your burden. Make no mistake about it. So all the grunt work and the drudgery that we have been used to all these years is something that can easily be put through an AI machine to give you answers quickly. But that final touch, that finesse that is required is yours and only yours. And that's where you need to put your finger on the job and say, this is my job, this is what I'm to do. All the other jobs that I was doing earlier that occupied this 80-20 rule, the 80% of the job that really give me 20% of the time, all that I'm going to now start, I will spend my time on the 20% critical thinking, and the 80% drudgery is now behind me. What else do you need to do to be able to be a future-ready consultant, CA? Continuous learning. The Institute has got any number of continuous learning programs, but I'm not saying that's the be-all and end-all. It doesn't mean that you have to only patronize what the Institute does. Continuous learning is something that you need to live and breathe all the time. We all live to learn, and we all learn to live. So unless you are literally a slave of continuous learning, your information and your knowledge gets dated. You cannot be, when clients are looking for you to provide them the most updated information on how they can use it for their benefit. If your information, as Rupa says, there are changes in GST that's happening by the day, happening by the hour, and if you're not up to date, you're doing a disservice to your client. You're not either giving him the best advice or you're giving them wrong advice based upon something information that was old. So continuous learning is something that you cannot avoid making it as a daily practice or your daily habit. And that's one of the habits that Rupa referred to as excellence. Excellence also is born out of continuous learning. If you don't continuously learn, excellence will burst. You cannot be excellent. You need soft skills and you need emotional intelligence or emotional quotient. We are ability. You are masters of financial behavior. All of us are masters of financial behavior. That's why we are chartered accountants. But are we good at human behavior? That is something I would put a question mark against. And that is something I would certainly exhort you to please start learning EQ and EIR skills that you need. They're not rocket science, but it is something that will take you a very long way with your clients, with your peers, with your staff, with your entire ecosystem of people that with the officers that you deal with. Your emotional intelligence and your ability to empathize is something that will come to your defense when you need it the most. Maybe I'm being a little, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you can use it in a sense like your Sudarshan Chakra. It will help you. How and where, I'm not able to give you an answer now, but it has to, several times, it has helped me, and I have no doubt it will also help you at your time of need. And something again that Rupa says, ethics and integrity are the cornerstone of your practice. There is no way that you can sacrifice either of the two. You can't sacrifice one for the other. Both of them travel hand in hand. Ethics and integrity is something possibly the first things, along with, of course, your knowledge and your knowledge capability. Ethics and integrity is something that it's a cloak you need to wear when you come into the office every single day. And it's not a cloak that you will take off when you leave the office. It's something that you will wear 24/7, whether it's in your private life or your professional life. It is something that you need to have with you. That cliche goes on a 24/7 basis. You can't say that you can't have shades of gray, that I will be clearly white from 9 to 5 or 9 to 7, and I will be a little more dodgy when I'm left out of office. Doesn't work that way. Okay. So your ethics and integrity is something that you carry with you as your calling card when you meet anybody outside or inside the office. And that is what you should be always known by. Please understand that we are witness to technology evolving at literally at the speed of light. But please also recognize that ethics is timeless. It never ever goes out of fashion. Never. Some technology will become a little irrelevant after a while. Ethics is always available in burnished gold. So please understand, ethics is timeless. In a world of, all of us talk about automation, algorithms, APIs, and all that is fine. All that is new world jargon. But the one thing that clients will always look for, besides all this, is the trust that they repose in you. And that is something that you can never, ever break. You can't even think of breaking a client's trust, because once that is there, done. You're just going to shake hands, he's going to walk away from you. So please let it be cast in stone that trust once handed over to you will be something that you will never forsake in your professional life, ever. And what are our real assets? Just like for software company, their IP is their real asset. What are our real assets? Our signature, our judgment, our advice, our reputation are the items that are going to carry us till the day we switch off the lights and leave the office. So please don't ever think that these are transient. They are not transient. They are permanent, and they will follow you like your shadow. A couple of other things which I've already spoken about are your adaptability and innovation, your ability to keep adapting to the changing world that's around you. You can't not notice it. You can't say, oh, I didn't know this happened. It happens all the time. It is your ability to recognize, imbibe, and swim with the tide rather than swim against the tide, because it'll be difficult to swim against the tide. And as again, I think this is something that Rupa also mentioned, leadership and vision are some things that you need to have from the day you start your practice. It doesn't need to be a 40-year leader vision. It needs to be a vision that will see you through till the next business, I'm not saying a business cycle, but at least to see you some degree in the future, short term or medium term. Because if you don't have a vision, there is nothing for you to, there's no direction in which you drive your practice. So please have at least a long-term vision, a medium or a short vision, but it's very, very imperative for you to have this vision. And coupled with that is your leadership, the manner in which you drive your team, the manner in which you lead your team, your clients, is going to be very, very important in your practice. Maybe the penultimate item that I want to speak to you about is that as you evolve your CA, I think you need to recognize that you are a partner or a participant in national growth. Please don't think that this is a very lofty or a very bombastic thing I'm saying. All of us in some way, small or large, are partners in nation building. And please recognize it as something that you are privileged to be, and please participate in it wholeheartedly in any manner you can. I mean, you have leaders like Madhukar, who's doing yeoman service, not just to the institute, but in other manners also. And there are so many other stalwarts who have helped in nation building. So Please don't think that this is something that's beyond your capability. It is not, because there are any number of CAs, not just the non-technical CAs, who have built financial systems, who have shaped corporate governance. All this is part of nation building. You can't have crooked companies anymore. All those days, I mean, we have seen companies that went down under because they were crooked from day one. CAs have developed robust corporate governance systems and corporate governance solutions that now arrest. I hope, I wish I could say that they have eradicated, but sorry, they haven't. But to a very large extent, corporate governance has become the mantra for every company that is worth its salt. And when you don't find a company's as good corporate governance record, you start to understand the difference between good governed, well-governed companies, not so well-governed companies. And CAs, of course, are great partners in advising governments on matters relating to finance. So when I say CAs will be partners in national growth, these are the matters I'm expecting you to participate in. As in, when you build up your capabilities, please feel free through the institute or on your own, please start to partner local bodies and governments in manners that will benefit not just the institute, but maybe society at large. And what are the areas that you believe, I mean, I just told you as a set of examples, but what are the areas that you think that you can contribute? ESG. ESG has become very, very important now nowadays. When you talk about environment, how have CAs done it? I know for a fact that Adani Green had huge investments in renewable energy. Do you honestly believe that the CA would not have participated in, say, the cost-benefit analysis, the return on investment? It's not just an environment project that Adani Green went into. There would be some financial thinking that would have gone into it. Maybe that was not the overarching need of the day, but environmental renewable studies would definitely, CAs would have participated in that. Or I think Tata Steel went into a net zero carbon study or net zero carbon program. CAs would have been involved. If you talk about S, which is the social, HDFC had a plan to include financial inclusion of underserved society, underserved portion of society. I have no doubt in my mind that CAs would have designed the program where inclusion of this underserved society or underserved portion of society would have been designed, yet not impacting their balance sheet. So that's the societal impact that CS can have. Infosys has the DEI policy, which is diversity, equality, and inclusion. Again, societal impact. We talk about governance. The first example that comes to mind is the BRSR program or the BRSR requirement of the SEBI, which is the business responsibility and the sustainability reporting. Again, I can see that in these reporting requirements and obligations, there is the hand of a good CA or a great CA who has brought up this to be able to have some impact on the ESG landscape that all of us now are part of, and it will start to envelop us more and more as clients grow, as clients scale their business. ESG will become a part of the jobs that you may be requested to advise upon. So we're no longer, as I was saying, no longer custodians of the past. That is done and dusted. We are now architects of the future. And the sooner you recognize that and say that I will take part in this as a leader or as a participant, the best it is for society and the institute. And maybe I will just sort of, the last thing is that I will maybe speak a little bit later about ethics, excellence, and customer relationship management. But before I wind up this part of my talk, would be my call to action to all of you. How do I change my mindset? Do I change my mindset by becoming faster? No. Getting faster is what the automation will do for you. Getting better is what you got to do for yourself. So faster, not a cup of tea. Better is what your job description is. So changing your mindset and getting jobs done better is what you need to be doing all your working hours. And so what is my, in a sense, invitation to you? Learn one new skill every quarter. Don't just be sunk in audit, assurance, GST, compliance, taxes. all those will continue to exist well before you, or have existed well before you and will continue to exist well after you. But learn a new skill set every quarter that will ignite some curiosity in you, because only when you're curious, you're alive. Otherwise, you become like an automaton and you keep doing everything very mechanically, and it tends to, after a while, become very drudgery starts to overtake you. So please try and learn a new skill set, if not a quarter in every half year, but try to learn something that's will be very useful for you. One other thing that you should learn to do, you should learn to, the profession and your clients has given you so much during the course of your career that you must learn to mentor one new professional. The people who join our profession when they are just passed out do not have the benefit of the wealth of your experience and your skill. So please learn to mentor young professionals. You can do one, you can do two, but try and make them like your shadow. Try and make them like your EAs so that they are able to understand the manner in which you think, in which you act, the way in which your clients treat your clients, and the way in which you deal with officers of the government. Please mentor young professionals so that they are able to learn faster, not necessarily on their own, but with your tutelage or under your tutelage. So to build your skills to a new level, there are, I would say, maybe 3 mantras that you need to keep in mind. One is, please become digitally sharp. That is the future. The future is now. Digitally sharp is what you need to be. Again, emotional intelligence and emotional quotient is something that you need to scale up upon. You need to sharpen. If you're already sharp, fabulous. If you aren't, and there's some little distance you need to travel, please take the long and hard route, but you will find that it was the effort was well worth it. And the last thing is, of course, being globally relevant. Don't be like, don't be very, it's again, maybe not the right example, don't be like the frog in the well where you're only seeing what you can see. Please try and be globally relevant and try and expand your horizon of knowledge so that not just you, not only will you benefit from that, but so will your clients and so will everybody who interact with you, maybe your staff also. Your global relevance, increasing your global relevance will be your shining light as you start to interact with people. That was pretty much what I wanted to speak about, but with Alok's permission, and if I have the time, I'll take another 5 minutes on a couple of. Yeah. I do have a little bit more time, Alok.
Yeah, please.
Okay, a couple of things that I believe I may have spoken to you about: ethics, excellence, and customer relationship management. Ethical dilemma that all of us face, I have faced, and somebody else would face in the various domains that is being. But two things are very clear. We've all been brought up with a fabulous set of values. And the truth of the matter is that we all know what is the right thing to do. But the hardest thing is to actually do it. Knowing the right thing and doing the right thing are diametrically apart. And when they start to converge is when you become an ethical child. So that is one thing that you need to learn about ethics. And the difference between being ordinary and extraordinary is doing the right thing when nobody is watching. You don't need to sort of show it or tom-tom it saying that I'm doing the right thing. Yeah, you're doing the right thing, but you don't need to do it when everybody is watching. That's not what you're trying to do. It's not trying to showcase your ethics. Ethics is something that should come to you naturally, and you don't need an audience to see that you're doing the right thing. And that's what makes you extraordinary. When talking about ethics, what are the blind spots that every CA must be very, very mindful of? Everybody does it. So I'm just joining the bandwagon. That's deadly dangerous. Just because everybody does it doesn't make, you cannot normalize wrong behavior. Wrong is wrong. Just because 95% of the people do it doesn't mean that you have to you have to be the 96%. You have to stand apart from the crowd and say, I don't believe it's correct. I'm not going to do the wrong thing just because 95 people do it. I will be the part of the 5 that do the right thing. Costly, tough stance, but you are setting yourself apart from the crowd. And that's what all of us have to be. So please don't do it just because everybody does it. Sometimes they say, okay, small compromise this time, I will be better next time. There is no better next time. Because once you start to make that first small compromise, you are at the top of a slippery slope and there is no coming back. you will just slide deeper and deeper because somebody will say, you did this last time, can you not do it this time? And what was little small last time becomes a little bigger this time and then becomes bigger and bigger. And precedence overtakes you and a little bit of pressure overtakes you. So please, there are no small compromises. Either there's a compromise or no compromise. There are no shades of gray in between. I think this is a question that we indirectly answered during Rupa's talk is the fear that a client will go to a competitor. That's something that's not acceptable. You need to address a client and his needs and his work fearlessly, irrespective of the outcome, and that is for what you will be respected. Not for the fact that you bent backwards to meet a client's requirements, which was not altogether okay, was a little dodgy. Just how you thought that he's a high-paying client, he may go to somebody else, my income will take a hit. Those are not the metrics by which you measure your success. The success is being fearless, giving absolutely the best kind of, and I'm repeating what Rupa said, the best kind of informed judgment that you can make based upon the information that is made available to you, whether it's complete or incomplete. Within the boundaries of the information that the client has made available to you, within that framework, you give them the best possible. You tell them, I believe I need more information, but within the amount of data that you provided me, I'm giving you the best possible advice. There are certain caveats that saying I needed this, but not having had it, I'm giving you the best judgment. So please don't be intimidated by the fact that a client may go to a competitor because you're not giving the kind of advice there's nothing called there's nothing called convenient advice. It's advice, good, advice, bad. Good judgment, bad judgment. And the last thing is this very scary kind of situation where the boss told me to sign it, so I'm signing it. This delegated authority of saying somebody told me to sign and so I signed, because the buck stops with you. It doesn't matter who told you, it doesn't matter what they asked you to do, but if you say that I signed it because somebody asked me to sign it, you are asking for trouble and you pretty much have crucified yourself. So please don't let yourself be sucked into a situation where you're doing a job or you're certifying something because somebody told you to do it. I'm not saying the client, I'm saying within your own organization, somebody says, okay, please sign this, let's get it over and done with. There's the next project to go to. No. So these 4 items are something that you cannot, they're all non-negotiables where everybody does it. You can't negotiate, you can't normalize wrong behavior. It's only a small compromise, not acceptable. Client will go to a competitor. So be it. I know it'll take a hit, but so be it. And you can't live with looking over your shoulder saying, who found out that I did it? You can't do that. You got to be looking forward all the time. And boss will probably sign. So please do that. And of course, the most ordinary ethical requirements ethical dilemmas that you come across are revenue recognition. A builder wants you to recognize more revenue than he has done. I mean, this is very, very, it happens all the time. It's for you to remain steadfast and say, sorry, not possible. Or when somebody comes and asks you, your client comes and asks you to do a due diligence because they want to take over another company, but he doesn't know that that other company is also your client. So when there is a conflict of interest, you tell one of the 2 clients, I'm sorry, I can't serve both of you, I'll serve only one. You make the choice, but you cannot work with conflict of interest because when they find out, you're going to be the loser. Happens all the time because I don't think there is sufficient training on confidentiality when we are doing very important work like say IPOs or mergers. There is very sensitive information that is made available in the office. And as much as we try and protect that confidentiality, sometimes juniors also who are not altogether aware of the need to be confidential are privy to that information. And then when they go out and they meet with their friends, very inadvertently, they may leak out some information which is sensitive. They're not doing it deliberately. They just don't understand the importance of that information. In a sense, this is insider trading to put in a very obscure, put in a very different way. But being able to manage confidentiality, and once this happens, you straight away, all the alarm bells should ring. You remove that person once you know it, you tell the client, you do some training. But this is another ethical dilemma that you will come across if sensitive information is leaked to your office by your staff. And of course, something that you always most come across, fraud is created by a senior manager, and that senior manager is relative of the founder. And the founder says, no, don't rock the boat. It's all right if it happens. He's a good friend, all that. Sorry. All those excuses and reasons just don't work. You have a higher purpose and a higher responsibility. You either stand down or you just mention this to the audit committee directly that these goings on are not okay. And thereafter, you let the audit committee take its own decision. But these are ethical dilemmas that you will face. Yep.
Sorry. One of the best value additions you can give is answering some of the questions, and at least a huge number of questions have come.
Okay.
So,
Fine.
if you don't mind, you can also answer all the questions offline. We will ensure that they get it. But it is ideal that if you can take at least all the questions which have come between you and Rupa. Sorry, really, I was enjoying your talk.
But no problem. In any case, I was there at the end, so I will. Most of what I have said would already have been spoken about by Rupa. So, Alok, if you can start asking the questions, let me take a shot. Let me take my best shot at it.
Thank you,
both of you.
Yep, sure.
So there are again a couple of questions which we have received. So earlier slot has already been answered by our esteemed speakers. Now the questions which we have received afterwards, I am just sharing with all of you. First is, if you had to give one piece of advice to practitioners struggling to adapt to changing landscape, what would it be? So this is the first question, sir.
Sure. Landscape is changing, that's a given. The question is, how difficult is the landscape for you to traverse through? Some item, okay. And how, in a sense, how tasteful is it? It may not even be a matter of your interest. Okay. So the landscape has difficulty, and the landscape has something that you like or dislike. So your choice. Fact of the matter is, you have to make that journey. If you want to remain in the forefront of your profession, you have to make that journey. That's a non-negotiable item. You can't remain in a rut that's 5 years old. So if there is a struggle, I'm sorry, all of us have to put our shoulder to the wheel, overcome that difficulty in that landscape so that you are a better person, you are a better practitioner. And once you have climbed that mountain, you will realize that maybe it wasn't all that bad, or maybe even if it was tough, maybe at the end of it, it was worth the effort that you put in. But landscapes are there for you to traverse. There is no doubt about that. So difficult or not difficult, it is something that it's a frame of mind. Okay, it's for you to convert that sense of difficulty into something that you will overcome, the challenge that you will overcome.
Thank you, sir. Coming to next question. This is regarding professional fee, which many practitioners found as challenging because the clients are not paying, or they are just considering it simply a compliance cost. So what is your take on this, sir, as to how the practitioners can overcome such kind of challenges, especially when we are looking forward to excellence and quality, as what we have covered in our first part of this webinar?
Yes, that is definitely a difficult problem to surmount. Clients, I'm not trying to generalize, please. Clients, I'm not saying are tight-fisted, but they need value for money. And unfortunately, they don't see value in ordinary compliance work, filing a TDS return, filing a GST return, and they don't see too much value. They believe to some extent it is an irritant, but it's an irritant that has to be taken care of. So how do you manage it? The way to manage it is, again, the 80-20 rule. Don't spend too much time on doing it. Excel. I will never, ever tell you not to Excel, but there are any number of tools. If you're spending, say, 4 hours on a job, avail yourself of the services of a tool that bring it down to maybe half an hour. It remains the same, but the time spent is very much lesser. So there is a trade-off or a cost-benefit analysis that you're continuing to provide great service, however great the client may see it, but you're spending lesser time, spares up your capacity, You can do more work and take on clients of similar clients. I'm not saying they're easy to come by, but take on more work that is also paying at the same level. So try and see whether your efficiency or the skills or the, not skills, I'm sorry, the speed at which you are able to deliver will help you to free up time and still continue to provide the kind of service that the client wants.
Thank you, Rupa ma'am. Would you like to add something to this
Yeah,
particular?
just
Because what I have observed that this is a kind of a question which remains in every webinar, and charging fee is something that we will also cover deliberately in some of our webinar series. So your take on it, ma'am? How you
yeah.
do your
So, see, my understanding is that yes, adding value is something obviously clients are looking for, even in compliance, or I would say repetitive kind of the jobs like returns. But how to give this value and also ensure that the client finds the value, because that is very important as well when they're paying us the fees, and to make them to part with that money, which is very hard on for them. I would say that let's say it's a returns, but we may like to give the not just a checking of whatever the working has been given and then getting it populated and file the returns, but probably also give them the review. So every month there'll be a review and a list of observations or points which goes to the client. Some of them may be at a conceptual level, some of it may be at a compliance level, some of it at a systemic level, or even at a transaction level. Once the data has been provided and that is analyzed and reconciled with using a tool, giving the insights on that as comments will certainly go a long way in giving that value to the client, which they will also find in it. And probably some course correction will happen as a result. Maybe some input tax they have missed, maybe some wrong credits they have availed, some RCM they missed to avail a credit. So all this will then hence add value as well. So let's give an extra report. I'm just pulling on the same example of compliance and saying how we may probably enable to give this value to the client.
And to repeat what Rupa said earlier, we should surpass a client's expectation for him to understand the value you bring to his table. If he expected you only to file a return, and as Rupa said, you're finding out mistakes that were inadvertent or he didn't recognize, and you're giving him more than what he deserves, or more than what he expects, then that's where he's going to see that he has got value for money.
Thank you, madam, sir. Now, sir, you have spoken about learn, unlearn, and relearn mindset. So the next query revolves around it as to how a firm culture can institutionalize this learn, unlearn, and relearn mindset amongst all the employees.
Uh, in my mind, I think it is I will pick up something else. I said a continuous learning program where, as a team, as a firm, as a whole bunch of co-workers, you get together to understand what of the jobs that we are currently doing is something that we can do better. Okay, so something new comes along. Let's just say transfer pricing or GST or AI. We learn a new skill. 3 years later, it becomes rather ordinary. So we start to say, okay, we have got our skills absolutely polished here. There's no point in logging a data. So let's try and see whether we can do the same thing better, or whether there is a new skill that we can adopt and adapt. So this learn, relearn, unlearn, and relearn is a set of practices that can be done at firm level, maybe through very structured training programs to inform everybody that this is what is going to come upon us very soon. So let's get ahead of the other practitioners and let's get skill sets that we are prepared for before it becomes a real live opportunity. So learn, unlearn, relearn is something that will happen on a continuous basis within a firm or within maybe a bunch of firms who want to have smaller firms that want to have a common training program or a common training platform. Not very difficult to actually institutionalize and roll out.
Yeah. Another question,
Add
sir.
something, Alok.
Yeah, please.
Yes,
One of the points which I have always seen is our CA education. It has actually made us live this, because at least for people like Rajendra Rao who are rank students, it may not matter. But people like Madhukar, average students, we learned subjects which we didn't like. We absolutely hated that subject, but still we passed it. So it actually made us very capable of learning anything. For example, 1988, we didn't have central excise in our CA curriculum. But an average student like Madhukar went into it, learned excise, became one of the so called experts in central excise procedures over a period of 7 years. So I think this is something which CA Institute has actually given to us. You should remember all those subjects which you didn't like and passed. And therefore, you are the best person who can, unlearn and relearn. Thank you. Go ahead.
Madhukar, this is also answering the very first question, saying in a changing landscape, how do you adapt? You just adapt by slogging it out. There's no two ways about it. There's no easy way out here. It is difficult. Deal with it. Otherwise, you will just be swallowed whole by the entire ecosystem or by the entire environment. So there's no question of struggle. Yes, you will struggle, but you will finally adapt, because please understand, you are a CA. You're not just you are a CA, which is a very coveted qualification. You're not an ordinary person in finance. That itself should tell you that you are capable of meeting challenges and overcoming challenges.
Thank you, sir. Coming to next question quickly, because we are now left with 7 minutes, and we would like to cover as much as questions we can. So, what do you think, sir? CRM is much more necessary now than before?
Very critical, because it is an offshoot of what again Rupa said, which I maybe repeated, is communication. But CRM is not just communication. Maintaining a relationship with the client is so important. The client needs to believe that you have his best interests at heart. You can't go there once a year or once a quarter and just sort of meet him casually and let him think that you're only thinking of him very sporadically. There has to be a continuous engagement for him to believe that both of you are partnering to his best interests. Otherwise, CRM, there is no CRM at all. You're just going only when there's a billing cycle, or you're going only when there's an annual audit, or when there's a notice. If you're going there only for a particular purpose and not just to maintain or to cultivate a relationship, that's a little bit of a hollow kind of practice that you're doing. You will still do his work, but he's not going to feel that kind of emotional connect with you when you feel that here's a problem. I'm only going to go to Madhukar and Rupa to do this because they are the best people who will do it. That is born out of a very strong and robust CRM mission that you have in your office. Because what do clients want? And as this is something that Rupa mentioned once and twice and thrice, responsiveness. If you say, I'll check and get back to you in 2 hours, you will get back to him and check in 1 hour, 59 minutes, not 2 hours, 1 minute. There's got to be speed, there's got to be responsiveness. He's got to believe that you are on top of his job and on top of his question. They need responsiveness. Again, something I responded. In CRM, you need clarity. Don't talk jargon, please. They don't understand it. They don't want to hear it. Please put it in plain, simple English. They are technicians, they are engineers, they are architects. They don't understand clause, subclause, provision, explanation. Talk to them in pure, simple English. They need consistency. You can't say, I'll give you a great job this time and I'll do a Dhila kind of job next time. Nothing. That consistency has to be there. The quality is all again a part of CRM. He's come to expect a particular quality. You will jolly well provide him with the same kind of quality every succeeding time you give him a service. Proactive. Something happens in the law. Something happens in the legal landscape. You don't wait for him to hit him like a lumberjack. You tell him, okay, this is coming. This is adverse. This is favorable. Please make the best use of it. So you proactively tell the client, this is something that can harm you or benefit you. So that is, and the last thing of CRM is, of course, the trust and confidentiality. He trusts you with all his data. You will zip your lip when he trusts you that. You don't sort of pump up and say, oh, I'm doing work for this person, or he's got a couple of 100 crores lying somewhere in St. Kitts. You just shut up. The trust and confidentiality are possibly the last cornerstone of your CRM.
Yeah, coming to next question, sir. See, in this, the way there is so much of a rampant development around AI, do you think it is suppressing the intuitional or curiosity capability of the humans?
So I think I've mentioned it several times. It only provides you data. You do the interpretation. I don't think, and I think I will have to, again, I think this is what I repeated. The human mind is capable of so many movement of gymnastics. You can look at a particular set of facts multidimensionally, much more than an AI can do. So intuition, AI doesn't have intuition. Intuition is something that's only in a human. It will give you reams of information, but who's to join the dots, who's to come up with a most workable solution is something that only you can do. Of course, as you keep practicing and as your experience grows, you'll come up with better and better plans. But intuition is a completely human emotion that can never be put into an AI. At least not in my book. Can't put it in AI. Curiosity, of course, is something that you have to develop. If you don't develop curiosity and you're just going to stay in your comfort zone, you are just going to be run over by the profession. So please, curiosity, and that's why I said be curious and take up a new skill every 1 quarter. Could be AI, could be ESG, could be something, could be psychology, because that's also part of it. In a very worse way, it's a very superficial, it's a very part of our practice. But learn something new every quarter, and that is what curiosity. I know there is the proverb that says curiosity kills a cat, but no, it doesn't apply here. Curiosity will always benefit you.
So coming to the last question, what we can have for the day. What portion of our time is spent on compliance versus advisory? And what should that balance look like? Because, we are propagating so much that now it's very important to have a shift from compliance to advisory. So for any, we would like to hear from you, especially from the point of view of proprietors. We have somewhere around 80,000 proprietors who are working, who are practicing with a single man army. So yeah.
Look, I think we may exceed, and one of our points is to always stop in time. So, all Rajendra Rao and Rupa, if you can take the questions, give the answers, Alok will ensure it reaches all the participants because we have them mapped. It will be sent. How many will read, we'll leave it to them.
Sure.
But it's very, very important that we start in time, close in time. And that's what we have kept, till now.
Firm believer in that too, Madhukar. Great discipline to have. Alok, please send us the questions. Even if you have answered them, please send us this question, both to Rupa and I. If you believe there's something more to add, we'd be happy to add it. And you can then sort of mesh together both our responses if you'd like to, and give one composite response to all the members of this.
Yes, please do.
Thank
And
you.
thank you. Thanks, Madhukar sir. Thanks, Alok ji. Thanks, Sir Rajendra ji.
Thank you, Rupa. Thank you very much. It's been a delight to be a co-host with you. Madhukar, you're always the king of all these matters relating to members in practice. So thank you very much. Alok, it's been a pleasure to know you.
Thank you.
Thanks to all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you.
I would like to thank all the participants who are live with us and who are joining us on every Monday from 4 to 6. Please stay tuned. We are having very interesting new chapters which will unfold it in the next coming Mondays. So we look for the pleasure of your presence, and definitely you can look at all our recordings. It is there on our YouTube channel as well, and also on ICITV. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Good evening
Thank
to all of
you.
you.
Thanks to all.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Have a wonderful weekend.